Good evening and welcome to Truckee Talks. My name's Ted Owens. I'm sitting in for Maya Schneider this evening. I'd like to introduce our guests from the Humane Society. We have Pat McDonough, the president, and we have Georgia Smith, the board member. And we also have a special guest, I see.
Moose.
We have Moose with us.
Moose, can you stand up? Come here, can you stand up and see what an impressive beast you are? Maybe
Let's
not
see if we can get a
quite.
wide-angle shot on Moose. He's 130 pounds of all dog.
Can you stand up, Moose? Here, come here. Let's see what a big boy you are. Nope. You're a good dog, aren't you?
Well, now,
All right.
now tell me a little bit about Moose. How long have you had Moose now?
Well, Moose came to the Humane Society about 2 weeks ago from Animal Control, and we've been trying to find a home for him. He's about a 5-year-old Akita Shepherd mix. Really sweet. He's being fostered right now by one of our board members, and he might just come home with me sometime. I kind of like him.
Well, I've got to say, I have a dog as well, and have grown up with dogs. He's very well behaved,
Yeah.
and he's been here with us for about 45 minutes before we got going, and so he's a pleasure to have here.
I think he'd make somebody a nice pet.
Oh, I
really
think so.
do. He's kind of like a Truckee dog. He's a big boy.
Look good in the back of a pickup
That's
truck,
right.
a contractor's
That's right.
rig. That would
Yeah.
probably work out well.
Yeah.
Pat, if I could have you give us a little bit of the history of the Humane Society here in Truckee.
Okay. Basically, we started to get together in late 1994. A group of us, some ads were put in the Sierra Sun that we were trying to form a Humane Society, and in 1995 we did elect a board and a president, and from there we got our 501c3
Nonprofit
status, both the federal and the state, and we've been pretty much active, and there's been more and more animals, and it's been growing every year.
Now, it's a relatively difficult thing to do up here in a mountain community, is it not? Given the fact that we don't have the infrastructure or the facilities that you might find, valleys and what have you.
It is difficult. It's especially difficult for us here in Truckee because we don't have an animal shelter,
Right.
and that we foster all of our animals that we do take in our program in our homes, and so we're right now reliant on volunteer fosters to take these animals. When we run out of fosters, then we have to put them in the different veterinarian spaces, the bed and breakfast.
Now, these are more along the lines of the services that the Humane Society offers to the public and in animal care.
Right, but if when we run out of our fosters in our foster program, we have more animals than we have fosters. Then we have to put the animal in a kennel provided by one of the local kennels, whichever one we put in, and that, of course, is expensive.
I see.
So that's how we're operating right now.
Okay, now, Georgia, how long have you been involved with the
Not very
Humane
long.
Society?
I just moved to the area in July and became involved in August. I work with someone who is very active too, and I've always been a dog lover and owner for a long time, and so this was kind of a natural fit for me. I wanted to do more volunteer stuff, and I wanted to work more with dogs and cats, and anything I can do to help them out, I like to.
Well,
So,
great, and
yeah.
welcome to the community.
Thank
Now,
you.
now we have some. One of the services, of course, is placement or adoption, and I believe you brought some statistics on adoption rates. Is that correct? That we can take a look
Yeah.
at.
We have, since we were incorporated or formed, you can see on the graph that's on right now, dogs and cats have increased over the years. We are now, the year-to-date figures I think are only through the end of October of '99. So already we are exceeding the numbers that we had in the previous years. One interesting reason I think is because animal control activities have really picked up. We've, the animal control people have gone into a wider area than just Truckee, and so they're more and more active, and we're the only ones who can really pretty much do anything with the animals.
Now that range is far greater than just Truckee, is it not?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, it really is.
Where does it extend to?
Well, they've contracted with Sierra County. They cover all of Sierra County, and they've also contracted with the town of Portola and Loyalton. And so animal control travels up there and brings the animals back, what they pick up during the week. They've expanded also since we're expanding, and a couple new employees too. So they've doubled in the number of employees for the town, and have also picked up this contract work from, as I say, Sierra County, in eastern Plumas County.
So we're really picking up quite a load.
Oh yeah, and eastern Nevada County.
Now we have local veterinarians that are involved also. Is that well?
They help us out a lot. They really do. From giving us advice on the health care to spaying and neutering the dogs that come in. That's a big part of our program, because obviously the more we can do to prevent unwanted litters, puppies and kittens, the better we can do. But then, as Pat was saying, they also help us with providing boarding services when we don't have enough fosters. Like I think we have 15 dogs right now and about 13 cats. We don't have that many fosters.
But historically, you've done very well. In fact, you have a low put-down rate in this community.
Our low put-down rate is 0.
That is excellent.
In 1999, we have not had one animal euthanized that we've gotten in the program. And of course, our animals come in the program from either animal control or from individuals who turn their animals in to us. So they come from both sources.
So they've got a lot of people involved and helping.
Right.
Well, listen, why don't we give Moose a break here? He's getting a little antsy. And we'll discuss in our next segment how members of our community can get involved with the Humane Society. And we'll talk about a program called Pet Partners. So stay tuned. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Truckee Talks. I'm Ted Owens. We're sitting here with some folks from the Humane Society, Pat and Georgia, and our friend Moose, who doesn't want to leave the stage, so I think we'll accommodate Moose. Now, Georgia, how many members are currently in the Humane Society?
Currently, we have about 250 to 275 members, dues-paying members. We do have a number of volunteers as well who help us. We have a number of business members who help us during our fundraisers with donating raffle prizes and things like that. I guess not raffle prizes so much as silent auction items, that kind of thing.
Do they sponsor? Is it a sponsorship type of thing as well?
Yeah, it's a kind of a sponsor thing, right. Okay. They help us out with donations of food, that kind of thing as well. So we really have...
for Moose?
Yes, for Moose. It pretty much all goes to Moose.
Yeah. Okay.
So we do have a lot of people involved, and we are in the middle of our annual membership drive right now as well.
Why don't you tell us about that? Is that coming up soon, or?
We are doing it right now.
Right now?
Yeah. We every year we go out and try to get members to kind of re-up, and for their membership donation they get a newsletter that comes out about quarterly, as well as invited to different special events that we have during the year. For individuals and families, it's $25, and for businesses, it's $50.
Now, I don't know if we've been putting up the phone number also. There's a phone number that people can get more information with respect to the membership drive?
Right. The phone number is 587-5948.
Okay, and we'll be showing that periodically
Okay.
through the program this evening.
Okay, and there what you're seeing now is the address to send your donation to if you are interested in becoming a member. Post Office Box 9041 in Truckee 96162.
Okay, now is there someone on the other end of that phone most of the time, or is it an answering machine? What should we expect?
We have an answering machine,
Okay.
and what we do is some of our volunteers are phone line volunteers, and so what they do is every day we have a different person assigned to pick up the messages on the phone line and kind of direct them to the appropriate people to handle them. We get a lot of different calls on a lot of different subjects. For membership, they would likely send the call to me or to one of the other board members involved in membership.
And then you can forward the information to them and
forward
find
the
out what they're
information
after, what
right.
they're willing
We
to
call
do.
them back. We try to call them back within a few hours,
Okay.
but certainly within the same day.
Now, a moment ago, we had touched on, in the last segment rather, Pat had touched on the fact that we don't have a Humane Society facility here in Truckee. So let's delve into that a little further, Pat, and talk about that, what you're working on.
Well, that's really the long-term goal of the Humane Society here, is to have a shelter where we can have the public visit and look at the animals. Right now, if somebody wanted to, quote, look at a dog, and we have, what do we have now, 15 dogs out there?
I think so, yeah.
And you had to drive around to the different foster homes. We'd spend all day driving to Squaw Valley to look at a dog there, or driving to Glenshire, or driving up to Tahoe.
So that takes a lot of coordination, a lot of work away from
We have
other
to coordinate
good things.
those people at their home with their with the animal they're fostering, and then to drive wherever that animal, the foster is with the animal, to drive over there and show it, and then go to the next location. I mean, it's really a all-day job to do that if they want to look at all the animals.
Now, you've been looking at acquisition of a facility for quite some time, and
Yes,
I
we
believe you
have.
have a foundation, Maddie's Foundation.
Well, the goal again, as I was saying, was to have a shelter, and the shelter where people could come, the public could come, and look at the animals, and it'd be a nice facility where we could also take care of the animals and show them, and have the phone line there and so on. We could answer the phone live, and we could take good care of the animals. Now, Maddie's Foundation...
Excuse me for asking, but I would imagine it would also maybe be a little easier on the animals than kind of bouncing around, which you have to do now.
Well, right now, quite a few of our animals have to stay at animal control because we just don't have spaces for any. And animal control is it's a good, safe facility, but it certainly doesn't give the animals much socialization.
Right. And the public's not allowed to go
That's right.
in the animal control
It's a secured facility.
Yeah,
It's a secured facility. Public's not allowed there.
Now tell me a little bit about how Maddie's Foundation came about and what.
Maddie's Foundation is a grant given by a couple that loved animals, and they funded $200 million to fund various SPCA's and humane societies, their different programs. It's not for capital assets like buying a building and buying land to have an animal shelter. It's for the programs within a humane society, such as a spay and neuter program, which we do have, a inoculation, program, adoption services, those types of things.
So it more or less would help fund all of the activities that would occur in a facility if you had a facility.
But it will not fund the capital. And what we're doing is we're in the process of filling out a grant application. Doesn't mean we'll get it, but it means we're at least applying
worth
for
a
it.
shot,
Yeah,
right.
we've applied for a few grants in the past, and so far we haven't gotten anything yet.
Now, in terms of a facility, are you looking for existing buildings, land? What's your plan?
The plan is to hopefully someone would donate some 5 acres to us. We're looking for approximately 2 to 5 acres of land, and it has to be located so that the public could
Access it quite easily.
Be close to Truckee, and then we have to concern ourselves with zoning, because if the folks may not want to live near an animal shelter, so it's got to be
Rural,
located
right.
where it's not bothering any of our citizens, and yet they have access. So we're still looking for land, and then we
What about, you've got some fundraising activities in this endeavor, so we've got to...
The main, talk about fundraising for a second. Fundraising, we have rummage sales. We normally have 4 or 5 of them a year over on West River Street. We had a wine and cheese mixer out at the inn at Squaw Creek Resort there. And that was a good fundraiser. We had a golf tournament.
Golf tournament was real successful.
At the Squaw Creek Resort. We've had a bike-a-thon from Squaw to Truckee and back. Next year we're looking at it possibly going from Squaw to Tahoe City and back. They've just finished that trail, and so we'll probably do that.
Okay. Well, I think when we come back in the next segment, I'd like to hit on the Pet Partners program, if that's okay. But
Sure.
we'll give everyone a break at home, and we'll be back in just a moment. Thanks for watching. Welcome back. We're talking about fundraising activities for the Humane Society. Before I so rudely interrupted my guest, why don't we wrap that up with the things that are coming up right now?
Okay. We're having in January, we are going to have a beer sampling out at Squaw.
And what's the date on that?
It's going to be really fun. It really is going to be nice. We don't have the date set quite yet because they've got to give us the availability of theirs. It'll be probably in mid-January, I think.
Right.
Okay, mid-January beer tasting event.
Yeah.
And
we just did a pet dog pictures with Santa. In fact, Georgia here was an elf.
And a very good elf she was.
Right. And we did that last weekend over at Bonjour in Tahoe City.
It's a pet shop there.
And good turnout?
Yeah, we had
good.
for the first time. Yeah, it was good. We were just kind of trying to get our name out to the Tahoe City area because we are expanding into that area too with our operations. So yeah, it was pretty good.
So all this fundraising basically supports our spay and neuter program that we have, and all the shots that we do, plus the medical care for the dogs, and their and also the board and care facilities. Any expenses that we get above that, then we plow into our building fund, which we've actually saved we're about $45,000 now towards building a facility someday, a shelter.
That's a good start, but I can tell you, you've got a
start.
little ways to go.
Ways to go.
But it's not bad.
No, that's a great start.
We're plugging away.
Yep.
Now, a program that you're actively involved in here in the area that I'd like to learn more about, and we're about to actually with a clip, is Pet Partners.
Right.
We have about a 2-minute clip, I understand. Why don't you set that up for us, and we'll take a look at it.
Pet Partners is kind of a subgroup of volunteers with the Humane Society. What they do is they bring their animals into the extended care facility at Tahoe Forest. for a visit with the residents there. What you see here is Harley. Harley's an Australian Shepherd. He's very sweet, and as you can see, people really kind of come on to him. He's really good with creating a little interaction with the person.
Well, there he is.
There he is, real close. In order to be a pet in the Pet Partners, the animals have to pass a canine good citizens test, which is basically a series of obedience commands to make sure that they're in control at all times and don't run over anyone and do anything inappropriate in a facility like that. We have a number of dogs. We also have one cat in this program, and she has passed a similar test to the canine good citizens test.
Going to ask, how do you do that to administer
Yeah,
that to a cat?
It's a similar test that she's passed. The residents really like this. The volunteers have a good time doing it too. It's something that just kind of makes everybody feel good. One thing that I guess there's been a number of studies about the impact of pets with sick or elderly people, or even all of us others
Of all
too.
ages, actually, yeah.
The good benefits that you get with having a pet around. One thing that's particularly good for people who might be in a nursing home like that is that there's no expectation with an animal. You can just be yourself with them. You don't have to worry about how you look or feel that day. They're going to accept you unconditionally, right, and just love you that way. And that's really a good thing for.
Now, is this a program that you do? How often do you do it? Do you once a year, monthly?
No, it's 3 times
ongoing?
a week. It's always on, I believe, Monday mornings, one evening a week, and then sometimes Saturday if it all works out with the volunteers and with the hospital facility.
And the weather.
And the weather. We take 1 or 2 dogs at a time, or 1 dog and 1 cat at a time.
How long?
Generally, each visit is not much more than a half an hour. So they try to get around and visit with a number of different people. So the entire time that they're there isn't going to be that long. We always make sure that the visitors know that we have an animal, and if they're not interested, we don't, come by. It's just a lot of them do really look forward to the Pet Partners visits.
Well, I think that's a wonderful program,
Yeah.
and as I said earlier, I have a dog of my own, and she's very important
Right,
in my
so you
life,
can
so I can imagine
understand. Right,
how
right.
important it is.
Yeah.
Now, Pat, you also have a program, Adopt a Pet?
Well, right, and all of our pets that we have on our posters are up for adoption.
Now, where are
And,
these are all local pets, yes?
Well, these animals that we have in our program, of course, are all come from basically from animal control. 78% of our animals here in 1999 have come from animal control, and 94% of the cats have come from animal control. Not from the owner turn-ins, but from animal control, where they picked it up from within their service area.
Right.
So we take pictures of them, we make posters, we go and post the posters on the various businesses here in Truckee that have been kind and courteous enough to let us put those posters in their windows. We go to PetSmart in Reno twice a month on Sundays, and we also do Safeway in front of the Safeway parking lot there for adopting animals.
Now, I know phone numbers appear on the posters, but how can people at home access the Adopt a Pet program if they haven't seen the posters? We have the phone number, same phone number?
The same phone number, 587-5948. Say that you're interested in adopting, and someone will call you right back. Or actually every Sunday at Reno PetSmart, there is some group that's there adopting out animals. We are there twice a month, and there's other ones as well.
Now, how do you transport? Do you transport the pets down to Reno? All volunteers.
Yeah. You should see Moose in my car. Moose filled up the back of my car coming over here.
Yeah, I would imagine you'd have to drive, what, a one-ton truck?
Yeah,
Or,
but we all, it's organized pretty well. Someone is in charge of the session each time, a different person, and we organize the number of volunteers to go over there, which animals are going to go, how we're going to get them over there.
are many adopted that day?
Quite a few. I say we would average animals per adoption session, so that's pretty good. We usually take about 6 or 8.
About 6 or 8. We spay and neuter them all before we take them over
That's
there. So
right.
we've got to plan on it during the week in advance, who's going, so they can be spayed and neutered.
Right.
And have all their shots, so they're ready to go.
So they're ready, good to go.
Yep, so they're ready to
Now
go.
tell me, and I'm curious, because I got my collie from a ranch up in Sierraville. She had herded cattle and broke her hip and didn't want to work any longer. I can understand that, but that's how I got her. Now, I've seen people in adoption programs where how many times do they come back? Do they circle? Do they spend a lot of time with the dogs?
How many times before they choose?
Yeah. Do they come back a couple times during the day, spend a lot of
Sometimes,
time,
yeah,
wake up real quick?
Sometimes they have to go back and ask the rest of their family, or sometimes they even bring their own pets to meet the new
See how
one
they interact?
to see how they get along, which we really encourage, because you know the new pet's going to be part of the family, and so you want to make sure that everyone wants it.
Well, I can see right now Moose wants a home, and,
Right.
and you
He's
need a
working
towel.
on it.
So
Yeah.
he's doing very, very well.
Yeah,
Well, why don't we
he's a good boy.
recap real quickly? We have just a moment left. We've got some membership drives. Anything on the immediate calendar that you'd like to hit on one more time? And let's put the phone number back up there again if we
Well,
can.
actually, they should keep watching the local paper, because every week we have a pet of the week in there, an adopted pet. So keep your eye open for that, and we will also have our events schedule in there as soon as we get the dates firmed up.
Okay.
For our beer
tastings-
fest.
Beer
A
tasting
beer
is
fest, by
coming
all
up.
means,
Yes.
let me know
It's
when that's coming about, and we'll get the word
a
out.
January fest is
The
what
January
we're going to
fest.
call it, yeah.
Well, Pat and Georgia, I'd like to thank you very much for spending the time to come down and talk with us, and Moose as well. And we've got to go because Moose is hungry. So thanks for watching Truckee Talks this evening, and we'll see you soon.
Thank
Bye
you.
now. Thank you.
Appreciate it.